Good morning, everybody. My name is Goedschalk, and I am a citizen and resident of Suriname, the greenest, most forested country on Earth. We boast 93% forest cover. And as some of you might know, Suriname is one of 2 carbon-negative countries in the world, together with Bhutan. And I'll tell you one thing, if you ever have the privilege of visiting Suriname and you have an opportunity to fly above the canopy, your eyes will never have seen so much green. It is a wonderful place that is thriving in nature. Now, that doesn't mean that everything's good to go, right? Because we do have pressures, so we do need to put in the work. And the work we're talking about right now is saving 1 billion trees. 1 billion trees, okay? And we're starting with 1 million hectares, later to grow out to another 2 million hectares. Now, we have been partnering with Open Forest and a number of other of the Data Alliance partners to come up with a digital platform, a digital MRV system that will enable us to offer full transparency, accountability, and clarity in reporting on what is actually happening on the ground. So we are going to be looking at working with the communities to not only make sure that this area is protected and keep sequestering 1.1 million tons a year. 1.1 million tons a year is being sequestered by this area. And we'll be working with them to make sure it stays that way. And then we'll be working with the Data Alliance to ensure on reporting. Now, what we have agreed to and are now setting down in a conservation agreement with the community, which is an indigenous tribe of the Trio, we have agreed that they will stop illegal wildlife trafficking, prevent illegal logging, stay away from gold mining, and in exchange, we'll be working on empowering them with education, training, management effectiveness improvement. We'll be working on conserving one of the world's most biodiverse areas. And again, we'll be offering this digital monitoring and remote sensing technology layered on top of one another to ensure that it is actually being protected. Now, the area is Tepu, and I'd like to take us there right now with Explorer.land if possible. Wow, you know, I just love seeing it. I love seeing all that green. I love seeing all that forest. Let's make sure we keep it that way. I know we've talked a lot these last few days about restoration and about fighting degradation. And yes, those are incredibly important things. We need to restore large parts of the world, but we also need to keep what we have. We need to conserve what we have. If we keep destroying what we have, there's not going to be any amount of restoration that's going to save us. So we need to keep working on keeping these forests intact. And Suriname, the most forested country on Earth, 93% forest cover is worth saving. These trees, these communities are worth empowering. So please help me on that journey. Now, we found partners in the Data Alliance that are helping us to actually make sure that we can keep this safe. Working with Open Forests, working Cadasta, Rainforest Connection, TerraPulse, CyberTracker, Globi, and Flint Pro, all of these coming together to really paint a full and complete picture of what is happening on the ground, to ensure that the carbon is being sequestered, the biodiversity is thriving, that the people are able to manage their lands appropriately. And one of the most important parts of that, of course, is the community. So we need to empower them with a tool like CyberTracker, which enables them to go through their lands, and actually register exactly what is happening, whether they're seeing encroachment, whether they're seeing some of these wonderful creatures around, or even map certain types of trees. We also need to make sure that the land planning, as done by the communities, is respected and is digitally available. That's where Cadasta is helping us. Cadasta is helping to work with the communities to be able to make these digital maps that show their traditional uses and show also how they feed themselves. Then we're working with Globi to make sure we get very high resolution imagery for areas at risk. If there's an incursion somewhere, we need to make sure that we can get to it. And that's what Globi is working on, this type of super high resolution with drones. Then we'll be working with TerraPulse. TerraPulse is giving us a 30-meter resolution to make sure the entire 1 million or 2 million hectares areas is constantly being monitored and there's no unwanted deforestation or degradation taking place. Then we're working with Rainforest Connection, biodiversity, because the creatures have to be there, right? You want to hear them. You want to make sure that they're thriving. And that's what Rainforest Connection is enabling. You can hear the forest using their technology. And then finally, we're also working with Flint Pro, because even though there's no carbon credits per se to be had today because it's pristine forest and it's conservation, there really is carbon being sequestered every year, and we'll prove it. And once the market is ready to accept and respect that, then we'll be able to actually trade these for credits potentially in the future. But for now, Flint Pro is going to help us prove that all of this is actually taking place and that the accumulation of carbon is going forward. Now, to do all this, we're going to need some money. I'm sorry, it's going to cost money. If we want to conserve, we're going to need funding. And we've got a budget for about 10 years, that's $15 million. We'll have, of course, project management staff, professional services, data alliance partners, all of these different layers that we've been talking about. And of course, we are going to need to buy equipment to ensure that the communities are able to perform all these different tasks. So that's really what I'm here to talk about. And if there's any interest from the folks here in the room to explore this a bit further, I'll be here for the next few days. Please look me up and let's have a conversation. Thank you.